Hello and welcome back to another video or audio if you're listening in an audio format. My name is Justyna. Welcome to my channel. If you're a returning viewer or listener, welcome back and thank you for joining me today. So here, welcome to your weekly horoscopes for each sign. These horoscopes are most accurate for your rising sign. However, you can also watch it for your moon sign or your sun sign if you wish. We've got another busy week ahead of us. Here, Venus this week moves into a Libra and Pluto stations direct. So I would say these are the two major events of the week. And then we've got a few transits and aspects of the week as well. But the main event is Venus changing signs and Pluto stationing direct in the sign of Aquarius. All right, so let's see how these events will influence each sign. So here I follow Western astrology tropical zodiac. So thank you very much, and let's begin. Hello, Aries, and welcome to your weekly horoscope. So, here this week, relationships, connections with others, one to one connections, unions, partnerships take center stage. The reason for that is because Venus moves into Libra, the sign of its rulership, so a very strong placement for the planet Venus associated with relationships, partnerships, connections we have with others, but also balance and harmony. So the key of this transit is, of course, balance, and Venus will make a few alignments with other planets throughout this week as well. But generally here, this energy is connected to how you show up in one-to-one connections, relationships, whether that's with your partner, whether that's with a client, for example, or your business partner. So here the key is balance. So instead of rushing in or needing to be right, try to listen more during this time, especially this week. Try to listen more and try to find common ground, especially during these agreements, because here Venus in Libra can bring into surface any disharmony, any imbalance in these important connections in your life. Now, as soon as Venus enters a Libra, it forms an opposition with Neptune in the sign of Aries here in your first house. This kind of energy can create a certain degree of confusion, especially here, since opposition often relate to other people, other people's influence in our life. So perhaps watch out for any tendencies connected to perhaps over idealizing someone or something, or perhaps during this time it's very easy to overlook red flags and important details. Things generally, you want things to feel easy, but at the same time, here with Neptune opposing um, Venus, if, for example, if a certain connection, relationship feels unclear during this time, or perhaps if you're the only one making an effort, then this is an amazing opportunity to slow down, to pause, and think carefully whether this relationship is heading in the right direction. So overall, here with Neptune opposing Venus, and Neptune gives you here an opportunity to take off the rose-colored glasses and look at what is real and what is an illusion. So, for example, if you've been waiting for someone to finally commit, and this could be your client, this could be your romantic partner, for example, or perhaps if you've been generally waiting for the right moment to share important news, or perhaps if you've been waiting for a moment to match your energy with someone that caught your interest. This week generally reveals whether that's truly possible. All right, so meanwhile, we have Pluto stationing direct also on the 14th, and that's in your area of friendships, long-term goals, your connection generally with group associations, community. So, what this could indicate, it could indicate that perhaps a project or a collaboration or perhaps some kind of goal, objective, dream, even that's been on hold, it could finally start moving forward. So there is this forward momentum whenever a planet stations direct from a retrograde motion. But at the same time, what Neptune, what Pluto wants you to do, what Pluto demands from you is a true commitment. On a different level, maybe it's time to take charge of some online group, perhaps that you established a while ago, or perhaps you might be relaunching a creative project of some kind, reconnecting with a group community that aligns with your goals, with your deeper purpose. Now, here, as we reach the midweek, Venus connects with Uranus, it connects with Pluto as well. So that's on the 14th, 15th. So here we've got a harmonious connection with Uranus and Pluto, the outer planets. So this can bring some really exciting news, situations, breakthroughs in the area of finances, in the area of relationships, partnerships, for example. And this could also indicate a potential opportunity to clear the air between yourself and the other person, for example. This energy could bring some strong realizations about what you truly value in others, for example. So generally stay flexible, stay open to any surprises and maybe even some unexpected news. All right, so as we move forward on the 16th, we've got Mars forming a harmonious trine with the North Node in Pisces, and on the 17th, Mercury also joins Mars, connecting beautifully with the North Node in Pisces. So this generally, this energy connected to the future, to the unknown, and this energy can really help you to make decisions connected to you moving forward with a certain goal, objective, idea. It's a very supportive energy. And this is also a good time for signing any agreements, for starting new partnerships, collaborations of some kind. So it's a very productive energy. It's like an easy flow of energy in a way. Now, as we move forward, we've got the Sun forming a square to Jupiter, and that's on Friday. And this energy, well, squares represent tension. Squares can also indicate a potential tension and an obstacle that we have to overcome. So with Jupiter, of course, it's not as extreme as if it was Pluto, for example. This energy can indicate perhaps overconfidence or some kind of temptation to promise more than you can possibly deliver, for example. So remember not to stretch yourself too thin. Be realistic about your expectations, about how much you can achieve. And it's not about speed, it's about commitment, it's about consistency. And this is when you will see sustainable growth taking place. Now, finally, the final event of this week is the Sun and Chiron opposition, also happening on the 17th. It will influence our lives between the 17th and 18th of this week. All right, so of course, Chiron, the wounded healer, it represents slightly more challenging energy, because here with the Sun and Chiron opposition, of course, as I mentioned earlier, opposition often relates to other people, external influences. So this could potentially bring some old insecurities up into the surface concerning your self-worth, concerning the ability to assert yourself, anything to do with self-confidence as well. So if you feel unseen, for example, in your relationship, if you feel triggered by some kind of circumstances in your relationship, in some partnership, in an important connection in your life, then don't brush it off. This is your chance to heal that wound, to heal that insecurity. So it's essential that you remember that you don't have to prove your value, by fighting for recognition, by fighting for attention. This is about facing these negative energies, insecurities. It's about understanding them on a deeper level and letting go, releasing them. All right, so here, that's what I've got for you today, Aries. So thank you very much. We've got Taurus. Taurus, welcome. So we've got this week your chart ruler, Venus, changes signs. It moves into Libra, which is absolutely fantastic because Venus in Libra is an amazing placement. So we've got a shift of energy here for you taking place. Of course, every time Venus changes signs, this also affects you, influences you on a personal level. So you're here, since Venus is your chart ruler, then wherever the chart ruler is present, at a particular time of our life, this is the area of focus. So this is the area of everyday life, your work, your health, your well-being. This is very much highlighted during this time. So generally, under the influence of this transit, you may feel inspired, motivated to create more balance, more harmony in your everyday reality. And so this is an amazing time for reorganizing your workspace, for also standing your ground, especially if you feel like you are reaching a point of a burnout, if you feel like you might overcommit, this is your chance to say no to overcommitments. This is your chance to set up a routine that actually supports your well-being in a positive way. So here, it's all about balance, harmony as well, of course, and this harmony in your everyday life, in your work life, in your work and life balance overall will become very noticeable. It might feel like you're out of sync overall. Now, as soon as Venus enters Libra, it forms an opposition with Neptune and Aries in your sixth house. Of course, oppositions, they often relate to other people's influence, external influences in our lives. And here, generally, Neptune can blur the lines here, especially since it activates your 6th and the 12th house at this point. So here, this energy can most certainly create a sense of confusion, and it can blur the lines between what's helpful and what's too much. So here, watch out for any unrealistic energies, expectations you may have connected to your work, connected to your coworkers, for example, new health habits. This is about being realistic of your expectations, of what you can achieve, of what's possible at this point in your life. So, for example, if you've been saying yes to extra tasks, responsibilities, because you wanted to keep the peace, then this transit, this alignment will push you and make you realize that perhaps you should pull back, that you should set clearer boundaries. So generally, harmony and balance doesn't have to mean self-sacrifice. If something is too good to be true, then check the facts before diving in. Now, at the same time, Pluto stations direct in the sign of Aquarius, and that's on the 14th in your area of career, public life, public reputation. This could potentially indicate a turning point in your professional life, something that perhaps you've been working towards. Maybe this is a new career direction, a promotion, some kind of transformation of your goals. Even if you're already retired, then this could be about your public life, your goals, your objectives for your life, for yourself. Then anything to do with your public life, any goals, career objectives, could generally start gaining traction. So you might finally feel the confidence to step into your authority during this time. It's about taking charge of your life, of your own path. So here we've got also between we've got a few interesting alignments as well, because on the between the 16th and the 17th, we've got Mars and Mercury aligning with the North Node in Pisces. So here, both Mars and Mercury are in Scorpio, forming a trine to the North Node in Pisces. So this makes it a really ideal time, an ideal time overall for having important conversations about money, about your goals, about your future objectives overall. So this could see you, depending on your circumstances, perhaps negotiating a pay rise, for instance. Maybe you are discussing new terms for an important project that you're involved in. Maybe you're planning how to grow your income. Maybe you're thinking about a side hustle. So, whatever the scenario, the key is to stay focused. Stay focused on what's possible, on what's achievable, on what's sustainable, rather than what's flashy, for example, what's not really meaningful in the long term. Now, simultaneously, we also have Venus forming a trine with Uranus and Pluto between the 14th and the 15th. So this also offers some really beautiful energy for you, some possible surprises, shifts in your lifestyle, daily routine, even, and an easy flow of energy overall here. So that's the 14th, 15th for Venus, and aligning with Uranus and Pluto. Now, as we move forward on the 17th, the Sun forms a square with Jupiter. And here, this energy can feel generally slightly more intense because it's a square, of course. But generally, it's not as bad as, for example, if the Sun was squaring Pluto, for instance. So this energy can boost your energy, but there's a tendency, for example, to take risks, to overextend oneself, for example, financially or professionally speaking. So this is about here to deal to to best deal with this energy is to be or remain realistic about your expectations, about what's possible at this point in your life, what isn't, for example, because of course big dreams are wonderful, but they need structure. They need a solid plan. So keep this in mind. All right, so we end the week with the Sun and Chiron opposition, also active and strong on the 17th and the 18th. This energy could potentially bring up some emotional healing, especially around your inner critic. Of course, the positions are connected to other people's influence in our lives. So generally, if you feel like you've been caring too much recently or even this year, if you feel like you need to handle everything on your own or alone, then this alignment, this energy, this aspect can really help you to see that who you can trust, who you can rely on in your life, who you can ask for support. So overall, here with whenever Chiron is active, especially by oppositions, because this can bring up unhealed wounds, emotions up to the surface, but at the same time, it's essential to remember that you don't have to rush and do more in order to feel more fulfilled, more satisfied with yourself, with your life, with your achievements. Sometimes it's about slowing down. It's about resting, and this way you can feel more productive. So try to generally here, perhaps find some time for rest, especially throughout the weekend. All right, so thank you very much, Taurus. Now, Geminis, welcome. Geminis, this week is generally here we've got lots of a mix of energies without a doubt. So first of all, we start with Venus moving into Libra on the 13th, and this energy generally boosts the creative side of your life. So here, when Venus is in the fifth house, our love life take center stage. So it's a great time for dating, for enjoying activities that bring that loving, passionate feeling. But this energy can also positively influence your relationship with your children. Not necessarily immediately, because this week we've got, especially here on the 14th, Venus forms an opposition to Neptune. But I'll cover it in a moment. But overall, Venus in Libra, where Venus will remain throughout the remaining part of October, this is a great time for generally for releasing this beautiful, exciting, creative energy through some artistic projects, through perhaps some romantic energy. Maybe you'll be going on a date, or perhaps this is generally about finding simplicity, simple pleasures of life in your everyday reality. So lean into what lights you up. Lean into what makes you happy during this time. But here, watch out, because on the 14th, Venus forms an opposition with Neptune in Pisces. So something generally may feel good, too good to be true around this time. So keep your eyes open around the 14th. And especially if you are romantically involved in a relationship, maybe it's a fresh relationship, or perhaps if a new creative opportunity comes up around this time, shows up. And also pay attention to your dreams. There's a lot of dreamy and confusing energy on this day. So before you dive in, take a breath, slow down, and think whether this whatever you're engaged in, whatever you're diving deeper into, whether this is inspiring you, or perhaps whether you're projecting what you want to see. This is very significant. So it's not about losing faith, but it's about being realistic, being grounded. So for example, if you're falling for someone new and you find this person very enjoyable and fun, but perhaps before you dive deeper into a proper full commitment, try to get to know them better. Or whether you're starting a new project, instead of jumping already too deep into this new goal idea, try to perhaps make a plan, do some more research, for example. Now, at the same time, also on the same day, we've got Pluto stationing direct in Aquarius. So this is a very important transit, of course. And the reason for that is because, of course, whenever a planet stations direct from a retrograde motion, this is when things start to make more sense, when things start to move forward. So this is happening in your area of your beliefs, of your life philosophy, of travel, legal matters, your sense of purpose. So if you feel like, if you weren't sure whether you're heading in the right direction with your life, with your goals, whether perhaps you are questioning whether you are studying for the right degree, for instance, even if you are questioning your purpose, your life philosophy, generally this energy, Pluto stationing direct in Aquarius, brings a sense of rebirth, renewal, clarity. So from this day and onwards, you will begin to gain more clarity about what truly matters to you in your life. Now, at the same time, also on the same day, Venus forms a beautiful trine with Pluto and with Uranus. So here, beautiful energy, easy flow of energy that can really, really help us to get through that confusing, unrealistic energy of that could potentially emerge as a result of Venus and Neptune opposition. So here, Venus and Uranus could bring some really interesting ideas. It's good for brainstorming, write things down. Perhaps because Venus will also oppose Neptune, you don't have to dive too deep into a brand new idea that comes into your mind, but you can write it down. You can so that you can reflect the day after, for example. So it's all about staying grounded in the reality, being realistic as well. Now, on between the 16th and the 17th, both Mars and Mercury form a beautiful trine to the North Node in Pisces. So this generally is an easy flow of energy. Trines are harmonious, and this energy could generally help you. It could generally help you. It's like a green light. So it's a supportive energy for those who are engaged in some kind of intellectual projects, written projects of some kind, for instance. This is generally a good day for moving forward with a project you've been working on. Maybe this is your blog, your website, some kind of educational project, for example. Whatever the scenario here, your words, your communication style carries a lot of depth and a lot of weight now. So this energy is about trusting your instincts because your voice carries a lot of power around this time. So use your words wisely. Now, at the same time, here we also have the Sun and Jupiter square on the 17th. So this generally energy, whenever Jupiter is activated by other planets, by the luminaries, this can generally lead to very optimistic, hopeful energy. But at the same time, since we have a square here and not a trine or a sextile, this could indicate potential over optimism, a tendency to overextend oneself, especially around your goals, your objectives. So here, this energy could manifest as potentially scattered focus. For instance, lots of different ideas, thoughts could be running through your mind, and they might be absolutely brilliant, but perhaps instead of picking 10, the goal and the challenge at the same time is to pick one or two things that truly matter. And at the same time, give them your all. So here, definitely keep note of the ideas, goals, objectives that come into your mind. You can review them at a later date. All right. So at the same time, also watch out for any tendencies connected to over promising, for example, promising more that you can possibly deliver, for instance. Now, finally, also on the same day and into the 18th, the Sun forms an opposition to Chiron in Aries. So here, as you know, oppositions are connected to other people's influence in our lives, external influences. Generally, here, issues or wounds, unhealed wounds, emotions connected to visibility, self expression may come up to the surface. If you feel like you have felt overlooked or if you doubted your own light, let's say, then perhaps this energy is trying to bring into your attention what sort of unhealed wounds, memories, emotions are still holding you back. So this is a chance to heal these wounds, memories, and you might really benefit from engaging in some creative, artistic project. Perhaps you might have a need to share this your story with others. For instance, this is how you can heal. For others, it could manifest as engaging in some creative activity. So whatever the scenario here, authenticity is key because it is far more magnetic than perfection. All right, so that's here what I've got for you, Geminis. Now let's have a look at Cancers. All right, Cancer, so welcome. This week turns your attention onto family dynamics. That's Venus. Venus is moving into Libra. So generally here, it's also about your emotional life, your family dynamics. That's here where Venus will be present for the remaining days of October. So it might be that you might be craving some peace and quiet at this point, more comfort. Maybe you might feel like you want to reconnect with your family members, people who are closest to you. It could be your soul family, it could be your family by birth, whoever it is that you consider people who are your tribe, essentially. Now, at the same time, if you are currently rearranging your space or if you are involved in some family dynamics matter situation, or perhaps if you're craving more peace and quiet at home, then here this transit can help you to make it happen. Generally, Venus in Libra, wherever Venus is present in Libra, it also brings to light what's generally what is out of alignment, what's out of balance as well, especially in the area of home, when it comes to your relationship connection with your family members. All right, so as soon as Venus enters Libra, it forms an opposition with Neptune, but also a trine with both Uranus and Pluto. So lots of different energies, lots of different influences as well. So generally with Neptune, of course, this could potentially blur the lines and create some confusing, idealistic energy to your family life, to family matters, or perhaps to a financial decision related to your home. Now, at the same time, of course, Venus also forms a trine with both Uranus and Pluto, so perhaps watch out for any emotional responses. It might be that someone might need your help, support, and you might suddenly just say yes without thinking it carefully, without considering whether you are actually capable of helping them. So, this is one aspect of this transit. So overall, this isn't about rushing. It's about slowing down. Reviewing, reassessing. Also, listen to your intuition during this time. And if you're going to be signing any contracts, rental agreements, for instance, booking a hotel for the upcoming holiday, then double check all the information. Make sure you're happy with the terms and conditions before making any commitments. Now, here on the 14th, also Pluto for stations direct in Aquarius, and that's in your area of the eighth house, so the area of transformation, the area of shared and joint resources, intimacy. This transit marks a powerful turning point. If you have felt stuck in your financial situation, if you've been stuck, engaged in some kind of emotional situations, entanglements, or perhaps whether you've been going through some deep healing yourself, then this energy of depth is starting to regain its strength and is starting to move forward. So this could be the week when you also finally repay your debt. For example, when perhaps you might be forming a partnership and things are shifting. This energy is can create a sense of empowerment on a deeper level. Now, between the 16th and the 17th, we've got both Mars and Mercury forming a harmonious trine with the North Node in Pisces. This energy can really, really help you to see things clear. It's a really interesting energy, of course. And this energy here is we've got the North Node in Pisces, which is, of course, your ninth house. And we've got the trine to Mars and Mercury in Scorpio, and that's your fifth house. So, this is an amazing time for having any strategic for conversations, for taking action on a professional project of some kind. Generally, this energy, this shift of energy, if you will, could potentially reshape your future. It could potentially reshape your um, direction that you're heading overall. So at the same time, since Mercury is involved here, and the North Node is about the future, about the unknown, pay attention because your words carry a lot of depth, a lot of meaning around this time. And here we, towards the end of the week, we've got two alignments. First of all, the Sun and Jupiter square, and also the Sun and Chiron opposition. All right, so lots of different aspects. So first of all, with Jupiter, it's with Jupiter in a square. This often manifests as risk taking, unrealistic expectations, for example, a burst of optimism, a strong drive to expand your influence or reputation. But here, the goal of this transit is to just take it easy. You don't need to take action on everything, or perhaps you don't have to prove your worth by saying yes to every single opportunity that comes up. It's all about sustainable growth, determination, because this will serve you much better than short-term hassle. So remember. And of course, the final transit is the Sun and Chiron opposition. So this energy could manifest as potential insecurity, unhealed wounds, emotions, memories coming up to the surface. So if you have ever doubted your ability to lead, or perhaps if you've been worrying, or if you've been worried about being judged, especially in your public life, in your professional life world, then this is your healing moment without a doubt, because this energy can really help you to understand that through that authentic, honest, and true authority doesn't come from being hard on yourself, doesn't come from detaching, for example. It comes from compassion, it comes from authenticity as well, honesty. All right, so this is what I've got for you this week. Thank you very much, Cancers. And now let's have a look at the next sign. All right, so hello, Leos, and welcome to your weekly horoscope. So this week, the spotlight is on communication, intellectual activities, for example, your voice, news. All right, so contracts maybe as well. So first of all, this is because Venus enters Libra on the 13th. Venus enters Libra. It enters your area of communication, short distance travel, and generally here with wherever Venus transits the sign of Libra in our birth chart, this is the area that can also make us realize what's out of alignment, what's out of balance. So for you, this would be any contract, communication, connection with the people from your community, your relationship with your siblings, for example. So at the same time, you might feel very inspired under the influence of this transit, which will influence our lives throughout the remaining days of October. So this is about beautifying your workspace. This is about reconnecting with your siblings, with your neighbors. It's about writing, studying, traveling, especially short distance travel is highlighted. And at the same time, this is also a great time for generally for joining forces with others, for resolving any conflicts, any issues, for clearing the air. Now, As soon as Venus enters Libra, it forms an opposition with Neptune on the 14th and a trine with Uranus and with Pluto. So, with Neptune, of course, oppositions as well are connected to other people's influence in our lives. So, you might generally, this could be about some strong realization, for example. You might see what you want to see in a certain message, for example, an offer or a person. So this energy could generally bring a sense of lack of clarity, potentially, lack of a clear sense of direction as well. So first of all, be cautious during this day on the 14th. If you're going to sign any contracts, or if you're going to have any interviews, important meetings, if you have to make a decision regarding financial goal, objectives, travel, study, whatever the scenario, if something is too good to be true, double check all the small details, make sure you're familiarized yourself with the terms and conditions, and so on. Overall, if an opportunity is too good to be true, then perhaps it could have strings attached to it. So for this reason, clarify what's not clear, and don't be afraid to ask questions, practical questions. Now, at the same time, also on the 14th, Pluto stations direct in the sign of Aquarius. So this is happening in your area of relationships, one-to-one connections, unions, and contracts. This could indicate this energy, this event could indicate a potential turning point in your relationships. And this could be connected to your relationships, well, love relationships, business, or perhaps generally one-to-one connections, contracts we have with other people. Now, at the same time, this energy can also help you rebalance any conflicting situations, any dynamics within your relationships as well. Now, if a relationship has felt heavy or perhaps controlling, then this week overall marks a chance to clear the air. And it's also about bringing more fairness and more equal terms overall in these one-to-ones. Now, at the same time, between the 16th and the 17th, Mars and Mercury connect with the North Node in Pisces by a harmonious trine. So here trines offer really beautiful, easy flow of energy, and the North Node is of course connected to the unknown, the unexplored, the future. This energy can really help you express your thoughts, and generally it brings clarity as well to any decisions you need to make in the throughout the week overall. With the North Node involved, this is about purposeful action. So it's an ideal day or a couple of days, 16th and the 17th, to release some important project, to publish your work, to make an important announcement, to share some important news, for instance. So here, if you've been contemplating a new idea, then this is your moment to take action. All right, so on the 17th, the Sun forms a square to Jupiter and an opposition to Chiron. So two very different energies with the square to Jupiter. This energy can bring a lot of optimism and hope, without a doubt, especially here when it comes to this really strong need to reach your goals, to reach your objectives. But at the same time, since it's a square here between the Sun and Jupiter, it's essential to be realistic about your expectations, about your what's possible at this point in your life. Here, Jupiter, here in Cancer, squaring the Sun, sometimes leads to us becoming over optimistic about a certain idea, for example. and it's impatient as well. So don't rush. Take it easy, and at the same time, here this is about generally standing your ground, staying realistic, and generally it's about realizing what's possible and what isn't. But overall, here there is optimism in the air, there is more hopeful energy, but we really need to stay grounded in the reality, especially when it comes to any future goals, any career objectives, your life direction. Now, finally, with the Sun and Chiron opposition, so this will be likely influencing our lives between the 16th and the 17th. And I would say the 18th as well, 16th to the 18th. With oppositions, this is often connected to other people's influence in our life. This energy could potentially bring up to light, bring up to the surface any insecurities around your intellect, your knowledge, credibility, even. So perhaps if you have felt misunderstood, or perhaps if you were questioning your beliefs, your life principles recently, then here this is an opportunity to for reflection, for slowing down, for understanding these thoughts, these unhealed emotions, and for letting go, releasing them. Because generally, your experiences, especially the most those most complex ones, most difficult ones, are what give your voice real power. So overall, remember this week, generally pay attention to how you express your thoughts, how you express your ideas. This week, overall, your words can really inspire others to think differently, to hope again, to grow. So that's what I've got for you, Leos. Thank you very much. And now, Virgos. Virgos, welcome. Welcome to your weekly horoscope. So here we've got Venus, as we begin the week, this brand new week. Venus changes signs and it enters Libra, the sign of its rulership. An amazing placement for Venus. That's your second house, and the area of self-worth, the area of money, income as well. And this is when generally your focus turns to creating more balance, to creating more harmony in the area of money, especially the money that you earn through your own skills, through your own efforts. But at the same time, this energy will bring up to light anything that is out of balance, out of alignment here in the area of resources, possessions, and finances. So here, if you feel like, if you feel undervalued in your career, in your business world, and in the professional life, it will become noticeable around this time. But at the same time, you might feel really inspired to generally to organize your finances. Perhaps this is a great time for financial planning, budgeting as well. But here, generally, with Venus transit in your second house, this is when your taste might become more expensive. You might be craving object of value, of beauty. You might want to pamper yourself. This is about spending money on comforts. Now, as soon as Venus enters Libra, it forms an opposition with Neptune and Aries and a trine with both Pluto and with Uranus. So lots of different alignments on the 14th. It's all happening on the 14th. So of course, with oppositions, this is often connected to other people's influence in our lives. It's often connected to external influences. So generally, Neptune can often blur the lines, especially between practicality and wishful thinking, between what's real and what's an illusion. So be mindful on the 14th of spending, of emotionally driven purchases, of spending to feel an emotional gap, or be mindful of saying yes to something that perhaps seems too idealistic, financially speaking. So, for example, if someone offers an opportunity that promises quick rewards, quick returns, emotional satisfaction, fulfillment. Take a step back because opportunities may emerge, of course, with both with Venus trining Pluto and Uranus, but try to do your research first. Try to ask questions, clarify whatever it is that you could potentially get yourself into. Now, at the same time, your intuition is likely to be really, really sharp around this time. So, here, this is about facts, about clarity before making any major commitments. Now, at the same time, also on the 14th, Pluto stations direct in the sign of Aquarius. And this is happening in your area of everyday life, everyday routine, your work sphere, your routines, your wellness routine as well. Whenever a planet stations direct from a retrograde motion, this is a forward momentum. This energy is generally helping you to move past a professional or health related block, setback, limitation that's been hanging around, that's been holding you back. Now, at the same time, a project or some kind of habit, work dynamic that once felt draining, it could now shift toward something fulfilling, something empowering. So think of it as a reset button. This is a time to take charge of how you spend your time, how you spend your energy on daily basis. Between the 16th and the 17th, both Mars and Mercury connect with the North Node in Pisces by a harmonious trine. So beautiful energy, easy flow of energy that can really help you to take practical steps towards achieving your long-term financial goals. So this could mean that perhaps you might have a very meaningful realization or a conversation about some important contracts in your life, or perhaps about some kind of um, financial situation that you're dealing with, for instance. So, whatever the scenario here, these energies are very supportive and they indicate progress, they indicate movement, especially when you combine logic with emotional clarity, emotional honesty. As we move forward between the 17th and the 18th, the Sun forms a square to Jupiter in Cancer, and it also forms an opposition to Chiron in Aries. So, two different energies with Jupiter. And this could generally indicate that you might have some really big ideas around this time, or you might experience a sense of optimism about your future goals. So this energy could make you feel ready to embark on a journey that could help you to feel free, that could help you to spread your wings. So whether this is a new course of study, a new business, or for example, some kind of new opportunities in teaching, writing, travel. Generally, with Jupiter in a square to the luminaries or to the personal planets, it's essential to remain grounded in the reality and to be conscious of what's achievable, what's not achievable. It's not about rushing too quickly. It's about taking a step-by-step approach in order to see sustainable growth. So be mindful during this time, because you might stretch yourself too far and too fast if you don't think carefully. So the practical advice here is of course patience and strategy, and this can certainly lead to a sustainable growth. On the 17th and the 18th, we've got the Sun and Chiron opposition. So here, oppositions, as I mentioned earlier, are often connected to other people, other people's influence, external influences in our life. This energy shines a light on the deeper aspects of your life. It overall this transit activates your second and the eighth house. So this energy could bring up to the surface some unhealed emotions, wounds around trust, perhaps fear of trust, or some kind of vulnerabilities, or perhaps some kind of memories when you felt like you can't rely on anyone. So perhaps whenever these sort of thoughts, unhealed emotions come up to the surface, don't neglect them. This is your chance to think them through, to face them and release them. Learn the valuable lessons from the difficult thoughts that come up, show up around this time. This is your chance to heal these emotions as well. And right, so a little bit of slightly more profound energy as we end the week, but at the same time, this energy can lead to self-empowerment. If you feel like if you feel undervalued, if you feel like your self-worth has been crushed at some point in your life, then here, these sort of emotions, thoughts might resurface throughout this time. So I would say the 17th, the 18th, giving you a chance for reflection and reevaluation and for gaining wisdom from those experiences, and then for letting go of what no longer serves you, from what holds you back. Thank you very much, Virgos. And now let's have a look at Libras. Hello, Libras, and welcome to your weekly horoscope. So here, this is a very interesting week because, of course, Venus, the planet of beauty, creativity, love, and your ruler is moving into your first house, into Libra. This is generally the second part of October is an ideal time to pamper yourself, to reinvent yourself in one way or another, because the spotlight shines brightly on your identity, on your sense of confidence, on your sense of self image, self expression as well. So you generally this energy could push you, stimulate you, motivate you to change something in your look, refresh perhaps. This energy is very magnetic, without a doubt, and you will see that people will naturally be drawn to you. You might receive lots of compliments, and this energy can help you to connect with others with more ease. So use this time to present yourself in ways that feel truly who you are at the core, in your personal life as well as in your professional life. However, as soon as Venus enters Aries, Libra, your first house, it forms an opposition with both Neptune and it forms an opposition with Neptune, but it also forms a trine with Uranus and with Pluto. So lots of activity here for your Venus. So what does it mean? It means that, first of all, with Neptune, oppositions are often connected to other people's influence in our life, external influences. So generally, this transit can blur the lines between what's real and what isn't, especially in the sphere of love, business, and self-image. So perhaps for some, this could manifest as idealizing someone or holding yourself back or having too high expectations of yourself or from others. So pay attention, because there could be some opportunities, ideas. Perhaps someone might ask you for help, support on the 14th, for example. So there is a scenario before, watch out and be mindful before making any big promises or sacrifices. Try to take a moment to pause, especially if you're going to commit to something that someone asks you for example. because there is a tendency to overextend your energies, to promise more than you can possibly deliver. So it's essential to be clear during this time, clear of what you engage yourself into. And also on the same day, Pluto stations direct in the sign of Aquarius, and this is on the 14th. So whenever a planet stations direct from a retrograde motion, this indicates a forward momentum. This is happening in your area of creativity, romance, children, self-expression. So this energy could potentially bring a turning point. It could indicate a turning point, a breakthrough, a momentum to something that perhaps once felt blocked. Now, this could be connected to your romantic situation, a creative project you've been working on, maybe to your relationship with your child that has been going through a deep transformation. So, here, whatever the scenario, progress is now possible. This is your opportunity to reclaim your sense of joy, to reclaim your sense of passion. Why not start a new hobby? Why not engage into something that you're passionate about? Because this transit could also indicate that perhaps the time has come to release control over a certain, over your romantic relationship, over your perhaps relationship with your child, over a project you're involved in. Perhaps this is more about trusting the process. Now, here between the 16th and 17th, Mars and Mercury connect harmoniously with the North Node in Pisces. So trines represent harmonious, easy flow of energy. And here, both Mars and Mercury are in the sign of Scorpio. So that's in your area of finances, in your area of resources, possessions. This could see you having conversations around money, financial security, financial stability, for example. And if there has been a sensitive financial matter or a complicated financial matter that you've been dealing with, you've been meaning to discuss, this is your opportunity to approach it from a slightly different angle with a fresh perspective. And on the 17th, 18th, we've got both the Sun and Jupiter square and the Sun and Chiron opposition. So two different aspects, two different energies. Of course, whenever Jupiter connects via square with the luminaries, with the personal planets, this can amplify our sense of hope, our sense of confidence, our sense of optimism, especially around money, especially here around partnerships, personal growth, for example. So if you are feeling ready to perhaps expand and invest in yourself, that's beautiful. But make sure that your plans, that your goals, that your objectives are grounded in the reality. So try to avoid overextending during this time, especially your finances. Watch out for any tendencies connected to overspending, or perhaps also be mindful of not taking on more than you can possibly carry or deliver. So overcommitment is also one of the big manifestations of this transit. So keep this in mind. And also we've got the Sun and Chiron opposition, and that's 17th and the 18th. So this is the dynamic between your seventh and your first house. So the Sun is in your first house and Chiron is in your seventh house. So this energy could generally bring a moment of healing, some realizations, perhaps some unhealed wounds, emotions could come up to the surface concerning your love life, concerning your relationship, your stand within certain connections in your life. So if you have recently felt unseen or misunderstood or rejected, then this is your chance to heal any old wounds, memories, and you can do so by standing firm in your truth, because you don't need to over explain yourself. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone. This is about being authentic. This is about being honest. It's about facing these unhealed emotions, memories, and gaining the necessary wisdom and letting go of what is no longer needed. All right, so as you can see, this week is really focused on your relationships, you versus others, boundaries as well, but at the same time, authenticity. All right, so thank you very much, Libras. And let's have a look at Scorpios. Scorpios, welcome. We start this brand new week with Venus moving into Libra, and this is happening on the 13th of October. Venus moves into Libra, where it will remain throughout the final weeks of October. This turns your attention onto your inner world, anything to do with your private side of your life, healing, emotional healing. So you might feel drawn to solitude more than more than usual. And of course, Libra season brings a lot of introspection and the need for withdrawal, contemplation, reflection anyway, because the sun is transiting our 12th house. Things change when the sun moves into the first house, of course. But overall, here, this is a good time also for creative work behind the scenes as well. This way, you can certainly, this sort of activities, meditation, spending time in nature, solitude, they can help you process your feelings on a much deeper level. So it's a beautiful time for journaling, for meditating, for meditation, or for generally allowing yourself to recharge without feeling guilty about it. So overall, this energy, Venus, whenever Venus in Libra is generally present in our birth chart, this is a chance here to restore balance. And this is in connection to our inner world, not through action, but through stillness. Now, as soon as Venus enters Libra, it forms an opposition with Neptune in Aries, and it also forms a trine with both Uranus and with Pluto. So this can blur some, well, this can blur boundaries overall here, the Neptune, and an opposition coming from Neptune. And it can make things seem confusing in some of your friendships, in some of your connections as well. And anything to do with your daily life, daily reality. It might be more difficult to focus on things that require a lot of patience, that require more of a detail-oriented approach. So keep this in mind. At the same time, under the influence of this energy, it's very easy to see the best in something, but perhaps overlook what is really going on. So perhaps you might find yourself overgiving emotionally, and at the same time also stay grounded in the reality, be real about and it's about realizing what's possible, what isn't. It's about distinguishing real from illusion. So if something feels off, then trust your intuition, because your intuition is very strong. On the same day, we also have Pluto stationing direct, your chart ruler, the modern ruler of Pluto in your fourth house of home and family dynamics. So this could potentially indicate a major emotional turning point of some kind, a momentum, a forward momentum. So if you've been dealing with some family related matter or some kind of home related changes, for example, this is when the energies are starting to resume, and there is this feeling that things are moving forward again. So something that perhaps once felt heavy or stagnant in the recent past, especially in the last 6 months, connected to your home and family dynamics, and now with Pluto stationing direct, things are beginning to transform. So this is in a way your chance to rebuild your sense of safety from the inside out. And it will, of course, depend and manifest differently for each and everyone. But that's the general overview. Now, as we move forward between the 16th and the 17th, both Mars and Mercury form a harmonious trine to the North Node in Pisces. So, what does it mean here? Both Mercury and Mars are, of course, in your first house, while the North Node in Pisces is in your area of the fifth house, so the area of self expression, creativity, romance. This gives you this amazing potential, opportunity, talent for expressing your ideas, your thoughts without overthinking them. So, for example, whether you are pitching a new idea or whether you have a need to express your feelings within your romantic relationship, maybe you are taking your business to the next level. So, whatever the scenario, the more you lead with authenticity and the more you lead with your heart around this time, more aligned your path becomes here. Of course, the path that's your North Node in Pisces, the direction that you're heading. So, this is about trusting your instincts. And this is about allowing your individuality as per the fifth house influence. It's about our individuality, the first and the fifth house, the lower part of the chart. It's about allowing it to shine. It's about allowing it to be visible. And as we move forward on the 17th, 18th, the Sun forms a square to Jupiter and an opposition to Chiron in Aries. So whenever Jupiter is activated by a square, it can, especially by the Sun, the Moon, or the personal planet, it can amplify our sense of self, our sense of confidence, and it might indicate that you might have this really, really strong desire to expand your horizons, to expand your potential as well, especially here when it comes to travel, when it comes to any opportunities, business ideas, goals that can help you to feel free, that can help you to spread your wings. So perhaps you might be ready to take an important step forward in your career, in your life direction. For example, maybe you are investing in your future. Maybe you want to carry on studying higher education. So this energy can create lots of different ideas, opportunities, potentials, but it is about taking it easy. It's about making sure that you're clear about everything. Write things down, reflect, reevaluate, because overall, a well-researched plan, a strategic plan, will generally create much more sustainable outcomes than one that is purely based on taking risks. While the Sun and Chiron opposition, this energy generally highlights potential unhealed wounds, emotions, memories connected to anything to do with trust, vulnerability, anything to do with feeling unproductive, undervalued as well, or perhaps feeling exposed, or generally feeling unsure about depending on others emotionally or financially. So, whatever thoughts or emotions show up around this time connected to these themes, this is your invitation to heal them, reevaluate them as well, gain the necessary wisdom. And this energy is also about setting clear and healthy boundaries in your everyday reality, in your everyday life as well. So as you can see, this week is there is a lot of behind the scenes energy. There is a lot of energy that requires clarity. So as you can see, lots of energies this week are about behind the scenes work, reflection, and taking some time away from the external influences, from the external world in order to reconnect with your inner self. The following week, there is a big shift as we begin Scorpio season. So let this week be a week when you can recharge your energies. Thank you very much. Now, Sagittarius, welcome to your weekly horoscope. So here we start this week with Venus, the planet of creativity, balance, harmony. Venus moves into Libra, the sign of its rulership, a very strong placement for Venus. This is your area of your future goals, future objectives, but also your friendships, your group associations as well. So here, this energy could generally increase your need to connect with others. So you might be craving um, connection overall, some new connections. It's a very inspirational transit without a doubt. And at the same time, it's a perfect transit to reach out to people that you trust. It's a perfect moment to reach out to your network, to your social groups, to your connections. And at the same time with Venus here, this is also a good time for getting involved in some projects, group projects, team projects that truly, truly excite you. Now, with Venus being the planet of harmony and balance, any imbalance in your social circle will come up to light, will become more visible as well, giving you a chance for bringing more harmony, for bringing more balance, harmonious energy into this area of your life. And at the same time, this transit also creates an easy flow of energy, especially when it comes to any teamwork activities, group activities. So that's really positive. However, as soon as Venus enters Libra, it forms an opposition with Neptune and also a trine with both Uranus and Pluto. So that's all happening on the 14th. So, of course, with Neptune, this could indicate potential lack of clarity regarding certain connection in your life. This is also when it might be difficult to distinguish what's real and what isn't. This energy could create confusion when it comes to your goals, to your future objectives. Perhaps you might be seeing someone through rose tinted glasses, or perhaps you might be also generally feeling more idealistic, more dreamy about a certain connection in your life, or perhaps you might feel torn between your personal ambitions and the time and energy you dedicate at your home. So generally watch out for any tendencies connected to over-promising, over-committing, and don't say yes immediately. Maybe try to first make sure that you've got the time, you've got the resources, you've got the energy before you say yes, before you commit. Now, also on the same day, on the 14th, Pluto stations direct in the sign of Aquarius, and this is your area of communication, your area of your involvement in your community. So your community life, communication, learning, your mindset. And with Pluto stationing direct, this energy can really help you to find your voice again. Because when a planet is retrograde, we experience setbacks, delays. However, a planet stationing direct, this is when things resume. There is a momentum. So if you've been second guessing yourself or if you felt unheard, then this will become to shift as of the 14th of October. And this could also indicate potential breakthrough throughout the week for any activities connected to teaching, writing. It's a really powerful momentum. Now, between the 16th and the 17th, both Mars and Mercury connect to the North Node in Pisces by a beautiful trine. So this is here happening between your area of the 12th house, where both Mercury and Mars are present, and your 10th and your 4th house of home and family dynamics. So during this time, pay attention to your dreams, to your intuition, to any thoughts that cross your mind out of the blue. Because under the influence of this energy, your intuition is very, very, very strong, but this is also a powerful time for reflection and for gaining clarity that you may have lacked on Tuesday, with Venus being all over the place here, connecting with Neptune and Uranus and Pluto. So pay attention what surfaces in your dreams. Journaling can be very beneficial. Generally, try to also have some time for reflection, for solitude, even because this is can when things become really clear around this time. You might be also working behind the scenes on an important project, on something meaningful. And on the 17th, 18th, we've got the Sun squaring Jupiter and also the Sun in opposition to Chiron in Aries. So first of all, the Sun and Jupiter square, very often when Jupiter squares the Sun, the Moon, or the personal planets, it creates a really big sense of confidence, of hope as well. It can also lead to having some unrealistic expectations, for example, of yourself, of others. Here, under the influence of this energy, you might be pulled between your bigger goals, your social goals, for example, and between something deeper, perhaps some emotional or financial entanglements. So perhaps a friend or someone from your community, someone from your work, from a team that you belong to, might be demanding more energy from you that you can realistically give. This transit is about generosity, but also about discernment. So it's about knowing when to say stop, knowing when to say yes. Here with Jupiter and the Sun square, before saying yes, pause and think whether you've got enough energy, enough time, because it's very easy to say yes to every opportunity under the influence of this transit, or spread yourself too thin trying to please everyone. But this can potentially lead to frustration, a burnout. So this is your chance to truly realize which connections, which commitments are truly in alignment with your values. All right, so with the Sun in Chiron opposition, on the other hand, which of course represents very different energies, this activates your area of friendships, groups you belong to, long term goals and plans and hopes and wishes, and the area of the creative self expression, children, romance. This energy generally could manifest as potential unhealed wound emotions about your friendships, about your sense of belonging, but at the same time, you might also notice some old fears connected to being seen, or sharing your talents, for example, sharing your gifts openly. So, if part of you still worries about judgment or not being enough, then this is your chance to release it. Because here, these energies want you to be authentic, unfiltered, without worrying about having to impress anyone. So thank you very much, Sagittarius. And now Capricorns, welcome. Welcome to your weekly horoscope. So this week is very significant because Venus, the planet of beauty, creativity, harmony, balance, moves into your area of career and long-term goals. And Venus forms a number of alignments with Neptune, with Uranus, with Pluto as well. So this also generally indicates some other triggers, which I'll discuss in a moment. But first of all, here with Venus spending its time in your career area in those final weeks of October, as of October the 13th, this turns your attention into your career, your career success, anything to do with your public life, public image, your ambitions. So generally here, under the influence of this transit can boost your confidence and can make you feel more noticeable, more appreciated as well. So it's a good time for setting new professional goals. Any imbalance, anything out of sync in connection to your public life, outside world, career will come up to the surface, will become more noticeable, more visible. So use this transit to refine your career, professional, public image. This energy is good for having interviews as well. Overall, it's about setting new objectives, new goals, but at the same time, avoid making big changes, big decisions on the 14th, because Venus forms an opposition with Neptune and also a trine with Uranus and with Pluto. So this can indicate a potential job opportunity or perhaps some kind of financial opportunities that may come up, may show up. But since we got an opposition to Neptune coming from Venus, before you say yes to anything that comes up around this time, take a closer look at the fine print, at the small details. If something is too good to be true, then ask questions. Make sure that you know what you're getting yourself engaged in, especially if promises sound too good to be true. At the same time, also on the same day, Pluto stations direct in Aquarius, and this is happening in your area of finances, self-worth, and in your area of resources, possession. So this marks a really powerful turning point here when it comes to your relationship with money, when it comes to your confidence, when it comes to your self-worth, your sense of self-worth. So, for example, if your income, resources, for example, or even sense of value has been under pressure in the last few months, in the last 6 months, more or less, then this week here, as of the 14th of October, this energy can really help you move forward with more clarity, with more determination. So it's not just about rebuilding your financial area of your life, but it's also about redefining what success truly means to you, what financial freedom or financial abundance truly means to you. All right, so as we move forward, between the 16th and the 17th, both Mars and Mercury form a beautiful trine to the North Node in the sign of Pisces. So Mars and Mercury are in your 11th house of friendships, groups, and long-term goals and plans, and they align harmoniously by a trine with the North Node in Pisces in your 3rd house. So this is a perfect moment for reaching out to others if you need help, for collaborating, for generally for sharing your ideas, for sharing your wisdom, for teaching, for studying, for learning. And this energy gives this easy flow of energy when it comes to communication, when it comes to self-expression as well. So your words carry a lot of weight, a lot of meaning around this time. So it's also a good time for networking, for brainstorming, for reconnecting with friends with friends. So generally sharing your time and energy with others could potentially lead to a breakthrough that aligns perfectly with your long-term goals and plans for the future. Right, so on the 17th, 18th, we've got the Sun squaring Jupiter and also the Sun opposing Chiron in Aries. So here we've got the Sun and Jupiter square. So Jupiter is in your area of one-to-one connections, relationships, and the Sun is in Libra in your 10th house. So watch out for any patterns connected to overconfidence, over optimism, especially about your professional path. Don't make any drastic, major, big changes because the energies are scattered. And on the one hand, you might be ready to expand your reach and a new opportunity may emerge, and that's great, but be mindful of not overcommitting, of not overextending yourself, of not overpromising, because not every offer needs your immediate attention, even though you might feel this sense of urgency on the inside. This is about choosing wisely. This is about choosing opportunities, potentials, that align with your long-term goals, not just short-term excitement. And of course, the Sun and Chiron opposition, which will influence your life between the 17th and the 18th. It highlights your area of your home and career. It could generally bring up some unhealed wounds, emotions connected to your childhood, family patterns, some unhealed emotions, memories. But instead of pushing those feelings away, allow yourself to dive slightly deeper into those emotions, feelings, memories, explore them gently. And this is when healing occurs. Let go of what no longer serves you. Use the wisdom gained from those lessons as something valuable, something that you can maybe share with others or use to help others. So thank you very much, and let's have a look at the next sign. Hello Aquarius, and welcome to your weekly horoscope. So here we start with Venus, the planet of relationships, creativity, beauty, moving into Libra, and this is happening on the 13th of October. So where is this happening in your birth chart? So this is happening in your area of the ninth house. And this is the area of learning, expansion, faraway travel, anything to do with self-growth and development activities as well. So those in Libra transiting your ninth house could make you feel more inspired, and you might be craving some really inspiring activities, whether through travel, whether through study, whether through engaging in new activities, something meaningful, something valuable, whether this is a long distance travel or a meaningful workshop or some kind of studies. This will depend on your circumstances. But overall, this is a really beautiful time also to connect with people from different backgrounds, different cultures to yours. This transit is about sharing your ideas, it's about exploring new experiences that can spark your sense of curiosity, creativity as well. However, as soon as Venus enters Libra, it forms an opposition to Neptune on the 14th, and a trine to both Uranus and Pluto. So here, generally with Neptune's influence, this could blur the line between inspiration and illusion, between what's real and what isn't. So perhaps for some, this could manifest as dreaming about a new opportunity, or perhaps having to make an important financial decision connected to perhaps a potential travel or some kind of educational matter. So before you say yes to anything that comes up around these initial days of the week, try to double check all the details, especially around the costs, commitments. For example, under the influence of these energies, opportunities can come up and show up. But at the same time, with Neptune's involvement, it's easy to overestimate what's possible and what isn't. So it's about staying grounded in their reality. It's about distinguishing real from illusion. All right, so on the same day, on the 14th, Pluto stations direct in your first house, in your sign. So this brings a major, major inner breakthrough. Over the past months, you may have gone through a journey of a self-transformation. And it may have been a slow, gradual process, but now that process is beginning to move forward. So you're going to see the outcomes, the results of your hard effort. It's like you're stepping into a more empowered version of yourself, one that isn't afraid to transform and let go of what no longer fits, of what's not in alignment. So it may feel intense at first, but it's also very, very liberating in the long term, because you are reinventing yourself and who you are at the core. Now, by midweek, between the 16th, 17th, Mars and Mercury align beautifully by a trine with Neptune in Pisces. So we've got a beautiful trine happening. And here, Mercury and Mars are in your 10th house of career, public life, professional life growth and development. They connect with the North Node in Pisces in your second house by a trine. So an easy flow of energy, and this energy could increase a sense of confidence in your public world, in your professional world. Perhaps you'll be making some important decisions around this time. And overall, the decisions that you take around this time, they could directly influence your sense of security, your financial security, stability. So it's a really good time for generally for having important conversations about the future of your career or the future of your role, for having conversations around money, around potential rise. So at the same time here, whatever the scenario, it's this energy is about realigning yourself. It's about alignment. So what is out of alignment might become prominent, especially in connection to your career, public life, and your sense of security. So it's about matching your goals, your ambitions, your objectives with what you truly believe in. Now, at the same time, between the 17th and the 18th, and slightly, I would say, into the 19th as well, we've got the Sun squaring Jupiter and opposing Chiron in Aries. So here the Sun is still in Libra at this point, and Jupiter is in the sign of Cancer. All right, so here, what does it mean for you, first of all? So for you, of course, Jupiter is in your sixth house of everyday life, everyday routine, and the Sun is in Libra in your ninth house. This energy could give you this really, really boost of confidence, of hope, enthusiasm about your future. And you might feel really inspired to take on more than usual. But at the same time, you need to be mindful and aware of your limits, because opportunities that may come up around this time, it's generally they as good as they might seem. You need to also ensure that you've got the time, you've got the energy to fulfill them. So avoid spreading yourself too thin around this time, especially between your professional goals and your needs, your desires, your objectives. Pause before saying yes overall. Now, here with the Sun and Chiron opposition, this energy brings generally healing. Healing comes through contemplation, reflection, conversations, communication. So the way this could manifest, the way this energy could manifest, because it's activating your area of communication, your mindset, your thinking processes. So if you have felt misunderstood in the recent past, or perhaps even if something was holding you back from speaking up, from sharing your wisdom, for example, your opinions, then this week overall, especially with Pluto stationing direct as well, this week helps you to reclaim your voice. This week helps you to reclaim the confidence in your voice as well. So you don't what you might realize or begin to realize is that you don't need to prove your worth, your intelligence to persuade everyone. It's your perspective that truly matters. And the healing here comes when you express yourself authentically without worrying if everyone will approve, with if everyone will agree. So thank you very much, Aquarius. And now let's have a look at the Pisces. Pisces, welcome to your weekly horoscope. So we start this week with Venus, the planet of love, relationships, harmony, balance, moving into Libra on the 13th of October. So during this time, your attention turns toward shared resources, intimacy, deep emotions, healing, any financial, emotional entanglements. Bear in mind with Venus in Libra, whatever is out of balance, out of alignment becomes quite noticeable and visible. So generally, this transit gives you this amazing opportunity to find more balance and honesty in the closest connections, relationships in your life, whether that means having an open conversation about money, whether that means addressing some emotional entanglements, dependencies. This will depend on your circumstances, but at the same time, you might be also stimulated, motivated towards healing, towards some kind of transformative work, research work that can help you let go, release the heavy emotional baggage that you've been carrying for quite some time. Now, as soon as Venus enters Libra, it forms an opposition to Neptune and Aries and a trine to both Pluto and Uranus. So, Neptune is your modern ruler. So, this can make things feel slightly foggy and emotional as well. So, this could manifest as a potential idealization of a certain situation, person, for example. Generally, be mindful of giving too much during this time, or perhaps of avoiding setting clear and healthy boundaries out of guilt. Because it's okay to care, it's okay to care deeply, but at the same time, you need to make sure that your kindness, your kind heart, your generosity is grounded in self respect. Because if someone is not respecting your time, your boundaries, then perhaps they are not worth of your energy, of your time. So at the same time, be mindful of any commitments, of any written commitments as well. Reread the contracts if necessary, if something isn't clear. Don't commit to anything that feels uncertain. Also, on the same day, on the 14th, Pluto stations direct in Aquarius in your area of the 12th house. So this is the house of healing, hidden matter, spirituality. So this is a powerful internal shift happening, taking place. Because over the past months, you may have been processing something privately, behind the scenes, on a deeper level. Maybe this, maybe perhaps grief, perhaps some old fears, limiting thoughts, beliefs. And now, with Pluto stationing direct, you begin to feel a momentum, a forward momentum. It's like you're like reclaiming your strength. It's like you're ready to release the past and prepare for a new chapter to begin in your life. All right, so later we've got between the 16th and the 17th, both Mars and Mercury align with the North Node in Pisces by a trine. So this is happening between the 16th and the 17th. Mars and Mercury are in your ninth house, and the North Node in Pisces, of course, in your first house. So what does it mean? This is generally a very positive transit, easy flow of energy, harmonious energy overall, and here communication, decisions, decision making processes, your mindset shift. In your mindset, this is all very much highlighted at this time. So it's a good time for launching something that can help you to expand your horizons, your reach, for example. And it's a good time also for joining forces with others, collaborations. Generally, the more you align your actions with what truly inspires you, what truly matters to you, the more magnetic and impactful you can become around this time. So it's about generally engaging in something that is lasting, that can help you to grow. Also on the 17th into the 18th, we've got the Sun squaring Jupiter and also opposing Chiron in Aries. So two different aspects with the combination of the Sun. So the Sun squaring Jupiter, that's on the 17th, and the other one is also the 17th. They will go into the 18th as well. So with the Sun and Jupiter square, here the Sun is in your 8th house of transformation, shared and joined resources, possessions, and Jupiter in Cancer is in your 5th house. So that's the creative self-expression, the area of the creative self-expression, children, romance. So here, generally with the Sun squaring Jupiter, Jupiter can bring a lot of optimism, especially about money, future possibilities. So you might feel like you're ready to invest your money, your time, your energy in something big. Maybe it's a new business, a new opportunity, maybe in yourself. But here, try to take it easy and slow. Don't quickly and perhaps engage in new memberships or anything that perhaps could drain your finances without researching it first, because this aspect gives you a lot of confidence, but it's essential that you're clear about the strategy, about generally about whatever that you're starting engaging in. It's about structure, of course, as well, clear strategy. So generally avoid stretching your finances too much around this time. This is about sustainability, not about speed. It's okay to invest in a new business opportunity yourself, whatever it is, but it's also important for you to have a clear strategy and a structure as well before you fully engage, commit. All right, so the Sun and Chiron opposition, this brings a lot of healing energy, especially around matters connected to self-worth, finance, your ability to attract wealth, financial security, financial independence. So this energy could remind you, bring up to the surface unhealed wounds, memories of times when you felt undervalued, for example. So this energy generally is here to kind of give you this amazing opportunity to see yourself differently, from a different angle, from a different perspective. It's about realizing that your worth doesn't depend on numbers, on the number of followers you have, for example, on a title, professional title, for example. This energy is about honoring your gifts, your talents, your contributions. It's about giving yourself credit. All right, so here we go. Thank you very much, Pisces, and all the best.